are now hearing that Iran has launched a major missile attack on Israel. Israel cannot defend itself. We get dragged into Israel's wars. And I know you're not allowed to say it. We're not allowed to say it because every time Bibi Netanyahu has arrived at Congress to say that he wants war, we go to war. Let's just take a trip down memory lane.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Obviously, we like to see a regime change, at least I would, in Iran, just as I would like to see in Iraq. Who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons is Iraq and Iran. But a third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability.
And we just are going to war with all of them, guys. I don't know. We totally are led to believe that we're a sovereign nation, but just like not under Israel. A single American daughter or son should die to defend a foreign nation. I have said this since I have been in politics. We have candidates that go onto stage when they're running for president of the United States, and they're just like, no, I love Israel more. No, I love Israel more. No, I love Israel. No. When I get in office, I'm going to do more for Israel. No, if she gets in office, she's going to do less than I'll do for Israel. This is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I promise you, nowhere else in the free world are they having these discussions. I will guarantee you when Bibi Netanyahu is running for office, he's not up there going like, no, I'm going to do more for America. No, I'm going to do more for America, because like, that's embarrassing. Like, he should not do that either. No one. Zelensky was not like, I'm going to do more for America. No, you do more for America. No, you are doing more for America. That's us. That's our presidential debates in a nutshell. And it's embarrassing, and it needs to stop. Actually, I went to the first debate, and like 2 people on stage when there was like 10 Republican nominees were wearing Israel pins. They don't even have the audacity to simply just wear an American pin. Like, they want to signal right away where their allegiances are. And it is just so terribly embarrassing. It is so terribly embarrassing and disheartening to be an American and to see these sorts of actions, just to see these sorts of displays on stage, people vying for our votes. Let me not rant about that. Everyone knows who these neocons are, who want to keep Americans drummed up, go to war. These people who can't fight the wars, they cry when someone points out accurately that they're clinically obese. They can't fight the wars, but your sons and daughters better fight the wars, guys. God forbid you have a person on a platform telling you, no, this is stupid. We don't need to be involved in Bibi Netanyahu's Middle East BS and expansion policies. Okay, they don't have the people, so they want you to be the people that go die for it and are trying to marry you to those ideas in the classroom, on podcasts, via the media. Obviously, no person should send their kids to die in the Middle East, because this has been our policy, our flatline policy for the last decades, and nothing good has come of it. Look around, look at your streets, look at your country. Is your country cleaner? Is your country better for having fought Israel's wars for decades?
So what about the story that you hear endlessly that Iran is planning to nuke the United States, that that's on their agenda?
Huh?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
So you consider that like insane?
I consider that so bewildering. If a grown-up says that, we need to have a long heart-to-heart talk about a lot of facts.
We were hearing this week that Iran is just weeks away from building a nuclear weapon, and so we need to take out the nuclear sites. We need to effect regime change in Iran. I feel like I've been hearing that Iran is weeks away from a nuclear weapon for at least 25 years.
Yes, verbatim at least a decade, and for longer in substance, yes.
Is Iran weeks away from building a nuclear weapon? Does Iran want a nuclear weapon? Will Iran get a nuclear weapon? What is the truth about Iran?
Iran does not want a nuclear weapon. Iran's neighbors, like the Saudis and others in the Gulf, do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Iran's major ally, Russia, does not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon. But Iran does not want to be defeated militarily by Israel, does not want to be bombed to hell by Israel, and does not want to be sanctioned to death economically by the United States, which the U.S. has been doing now for endless years.
Fox News is telling everyone every day they're, moments away from a nuclear. We cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Day after day after day. Why not just say no?
I think, by the way, that's true. And Iran would agree with that. Okay? Yes, that's what we're saying.
So, but if you went on television right now, if you were back on your old perch on Morning Joe and you said, actually, Iran doesn't want a nuclear weapon, they would accuse you immediately of being an agent of Iran.
They might. because maybe someone would tell them in their little earpiece to say that, because that's how it works.
But you're saying that's true. I mean, you're acting like that's like a non-controversial statement. No, Iran doesn't want to bomb. They've said they don't. They just don't want to get attacked.
They have said for years, remove our sanctions, normalize relations, stop trying to overthrow us. Tell your bulldog Israel to stop threatening us with war, and we can have perfectly normal relations, and we don't want a nuclear weapon. Peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians is America's interest. Again, not even on moral grounds, just the most practical grounds. Yeah. Keep us out of nuclear war, keep us out of regional war, have economic development, build, have business, everything.
No more 9/11.
Normalizations.
Osama bin Laden said that he planned 9/11 in part because of what was happening between Israel and the Palestinians and America's support for Israel. Now, no one wanted to hear that.
That's
they called
correct.
You names if you said it.
Yep.
I'm not on Osama bin Laden's side,
that's
obviously, but that's a fact. So, like, why would we want to expose ourselves to more of that? Like, why not try and get this fixed?
Iran's cyber operations and capabilities also present a serious threat to U.S. networks and data. The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003. The IC continues to monitor closely if Tehran decides to reauthorize its nuclear weapons program. In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
I recently visited Hiroshima in Japan and stood at the epicenter of a city that remains scarred by the unimaginable horror caused by a single nuclear bomb dropped in 1945, 80 years ago. Yet this one bomb that caused so much destruction in Hiroshima was tiny compared to today's nuclear bombs. As we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before, political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. So it's up to us, the people, to speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war and work toward a world where no one has to live in fear of a nuclear holocaust.